and one reason only. It's because people are waking up about our Jewish oligarchy. That's it. And we all know why. All of them are Jewish. All of them have a special affinity for Israel. And by all of them, I mean all these people that have spoken out in the past few weeks. When these Jewish people get together at the North American Jewish Federation, at the Republican Jewish Coalition, at the World Jewish Congress, at the Conference for Major American Jewish Organizations, and they get up on stage, and right, left, and center, they get up and they decry the anti-Semites on the left and on the right, Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes, Hassan Piker and Zohran Mamdani. The only reason they're saying these things is because they are here as a foreign entity to lobby and manipulate the American public to support their country.
For over 3 days, I have kept watching Nick Fuentes, probing his styles and most of the things he says to know whether they are compatible with the values of this channel. And I can tell you that what he has been doing so far is completely compatible with what we do here in the channel, because he's hitting the enemies of America and the enemies of humanity, especially those who have kept Gaza and the Palestinians in this situation where they are right now. So he released a video that says Organized Jewry is scrambling to replace me. Well, I agree with this statement in the first place, because immediately Charlie Kirk died, Ben Shapiro said he was going to start his own online tour, campus tour. The campus tour he's going to start is to strengthen what Charlie Kirk has done so far. And that was a red flag for those who were mourning Charlie Kirk. This is the guy that interviewed Charlie Kirk 48 hours before he was murdered. And the way his faces were on that day was telling. It was obvious he wasn't comfortable with Charlie Kirk trying to probe, trying to look deeper into what the Israeli lobby is doing in America. I wouldn't play that clip. Let's just listen to Nick Fuentes and see really what he has to say. I'll be right back.
Last week, I did an extended show talking about all these Jewish conferences. I know how that sounds, but it's what it is. It's so weird because you talk to normal people and you feel like a crazy person. But you look at these things and what else are you supposed to say? I did a whole show about it last week. I go on Tucker Carlson's show. It's really an uneventful interview. It's not even the best interview I've ever given. It's pretty boring, honestly. And it causes an international crisis. It's another Holocaust. The anti-Semites are at the gates, And it's in the New York Times 5 days a week. It's in the Washington Post. The president is talking about it. People are making a personal appeal to the vice president. The Speaker of the House is getting involved. And then on the sideline of all that, the organized Jewish community is freaking out and they hold their meetings. That's just how it works. They go to Las Vegas for the Republican Jewish Coalition Summit. The Republican Jewish Coalition is what it is. And Mark Levin gets up and says, I'm tired of hearing about Gaza. Well, we'll tell you when we're done with Gaza. We're sick of hearing. We the Jews. This is what goes on. Week after that, you get the World Jewish Congress. Go ahead and Google that. That's a real thing. It's run by the Rothschilds and Ronald Lauder. Not making that up. That's real. And they get together and they talk about how Jews around the world are going to help Jewish people. And then they do the Conference of Major Jewish Organizations. They do the North American Jewish Federation. They do the Tikva Jewish Leadership Summit. Okay, so these are 5 different meetings that all happened in the past few weeks. And they all get together and they basically say the same thing, which is we need to shut it down. They say people are noticing that we have all the power, and they notice that we're using the power to help Israel, and Americans are sick of it. So they're saying we need to shut that conversation down. We need to cancel Tucker. We need to blacklist Nick. We need to censor the internet. We need anti-Semitism laws. We need gatekeeping. Like, this is explicitly the message. And anyway, I did a whole show about this last week. If you watch the videos, that's exactly what they're saying. And we finally actually got the live footage from one of them at the Tikva Leadership Summit last week. I covered it on the show, but we only had the transcript, or we had a summary of events from a reporter, but we didn't actually have the video. We finally got the video from a panel with Ben Shapiro and Barry Weiss. And oh my gosh, it's just like beyond parody. And so for those that don't know, recently, Larry Ellison became the second richest man in the world. Who is Larry Ellison? Good question. So he is now worth north of $300 billion. He's the founder of Oracle. It's a software company. They handle data hosting. And I don't even really know what that means. I'm not a tech guy, so if you don't know, that's fine. But it's a back-end service. So they're a provider. They provide data hosting services for all the major websites. It's called Oracle, and they get contracts from the government, and they have partnerships with all the major tech companies. It's one of the most valuable tech companies in the world, and Larry Ellison is its founder and its owner and the head of the company. And that's where he derives his fortune. Larry Ellison is Jewish. Larry Ellison is an atheist, but he feels very strongly about being Jewish.
Well, I don't know whether he's going to say anything about this part, but Larry Ellison also served in the IDF. That's the irony of it. He's going to talk about the part where he obviously joined, engineered the buying of TikTok and the creation of a department in TikTok right now that sees to anti-Semitism. So whether he's going to say something about that, I don't know. But let's just keep listening to him, because Larry Ellison went viral for his views, for being part of, the IDF and many other things. And I agree with Nick on this count, because that's it.
So strongly that he is a huge supporter of Israel. How much does he support Israel? Well, he's the #1 private benefactor of the Israeli Defense Forces. He has made private donations to the Israeli military to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. How much does he support Israel? He's personal friends with Benjamin Netanyahu. And when Benjamin Netanyahu was indicted by his own government, Larry Ellison helped get Netanyahu a lawyer to defend himself. How did Ellison get Netanyahu a lawyer? Well, Larry Ellison went down to Hollywood, and he went to the famous Jewish pro-Israel movie producer, Arnon Milchan, and asked him to drop his Israelite Jewish lawyer, his Israeli Jewish lawyer, so that Netanyahu could hire him. Okay? So the second richest man in the world, an American billionaire running one of the most important tech companies, went to one of the richest and most famous and powerful Jewish movie producers and said, "Hey, Arnon, can you dismiss your lawyer? Netanyahu is in trouble." So he gets Milchan to drop his lawyer so that Netanyahu could hire him to defend him from corruption charges. Netanyahu has vacationed on Larry Ellison's private island that he owns in Hawaii with his family. This is Larry Ellison. Now, after October 7th, the U.S. Congress banned TikTok because there was too much criticism of Israel on TikTok. How do we know this?
Larry Ellison is really a very powerful person, and who knows who propped him. And now he manages, data for websites. How are we sure he doesn't have, he's not compromised? If he's so pro-Israel, how are we sure that data that goes through his companies has oversight enough to ensure that it doesn't pass to people? Because come to think of it, recently, phones, gadgets, scooters, laptops are blowing up in Gaza. So how does that? It means the idea of Israel has infiltrated almost every facet of people's lives. So those cultures that are making their way into Gaza are compromised. So how do we explain that? People like Larry Ellison has answers to it. Let's keep watching.
Because the ADL told us that the more time that people spend on TikTok, the more anti-Semitic they become. So the North American Jewish Federation started lobbying Congress to ban TikTok. And major pro-Israel Republicans like Nikki Haley led the charge on this. She said, we have to ban TikTok because it's anti-Semitic. So they did. Another Jewish donor, Jeffrey Yass, donated millions of dollars to Trump because he wanted Trump to buy TikTok on behalf of the United States. As you know, recently Trump completed that deal as part of a wider trade deal with China, and the United States purchased TikTok from its Chinese parent company, ByteDance, and the U.S. consortium that bought it was Larry Ellison's company, Oracle. Larry Ellison will direct the board that is running TikTok, and his Oracle will host America's TikTok data. So go figure, the Jewish lobby bans TikTok, the Jewish lobby gets Trump to buy TikTok, the Jewish lobby now owns TikTok, and what do you think they're going to do with it? They're going to ban anti-Semitism. What else does Larry Ellison do? Well, his son David Ellison has a production company called Skydance. Larry Ellison underwrites the acquisition of Paramount by Skydance. So his son now owns Paramount, the Hollywood media conglomerate, which includes CBS, one of the major broadcasting networks. As part of the deal, they're going to get Barry Weiss to run CBS. CBS will buy her website, The Free Press, for $150 million, and she will now be the editor-in-chief of CBS. Barry Weiss, of course, is an Israeli spy. She went to Columbia University, where she tried to get pro-Palestine professors fired as part of the David Project, a Jewish group. Then when she finished college, she studied under Yoram Hazony in Israel at the Shalem Center. Then she came back to the United States and was mentored by Bret Stephens, the Jewish columnist at the New York Times, where she was an editorialist over there. Then she got money to do the Free Press. Now she's at CBS. And the new editorial line there is, we are not going to tolerate the progressive left that's anti-Israel and the radical right that's anti-Israel. Okay? This is what is going on. This is who Barry Weiss is. This is what she's a part of. Now, Barry Weiss goes to the Tikva Fund, and Tikva is funded by a number of Jewish billionaires. They come up with grants for young Jewish students and Jewish lawyers. The Tikva Fund has given money to the B'nai B'rith, to the ADL. They've given money to a lot of these types. J.D. Vance's Jewish chief of staff was a Tikva Fund fellow, as are many of them in Conservative Inc. So she's there with Ben Shapiro at the panel talking about the crisis of anti-Semitism. And she says, what we need are gatekeepers. We need censorship. She says, how do we get people to stop listening to Hassan Piker, Andrew Tate, Tucker, and Nick Fuentes? She says, well, we're never going to go back to Walter Cronkite, where 30 million people are watching the same TV show, and it's centralized, it's gate-kept, it's moderate. She said, we have to find centrist conservatives and centrist liberals. She says, and we need to curate who is allowed to participate in the discourse. That means gatekeeping. That means the Jews are going to decide who gets to talk, who gets to participate in the debate, and what the topics will be. She says, we're not going back to Walter Cronkite, but we can curate the discourse. We can choose who's going to debate. She says, so we should find charismatic centrist liberals and centrist conservatives and have them debate. She says to Ben Shapiro, she goes, yeah, I was just in Chicago last week, and we had this debate between Alan Dershowitz and Dana Lash about gun control. She goes, two really charismatic centrists from the left and right. Alan Dershowitz and Dana Lash. For those that don't know, Alan Dershowitz was Jeffrey Epstein's Jewish lawyer who is 86 years old. And Dana Lash, I think she's in her 50s. She was the former head of the NRA. You might have seen her recently because she is the one that interrogated Kevin Roberts, the president of the Heritage Foundation, after he defended Tucker Carlson for interviewing me. Dana Lash led the inquisition on her show that gets no views. That's going to be the discourse. Jeffrey Epstein's Jewish lawyer and Israel's #1 defender, the head of the NRA, Dana Lash, debating about gun control. That's going to be the discussion. That's going to be the new discourse. Got it? Let's not talk about Gaza. Let's not talk about Epstein. Let's not talk about the Pollard affair and how Mike Huckabee sat with him. Let's not talk about the pedophile from the Israeli government that fled our own attorney general from Vegas. Let's not talk about the war in Iran. Let's not talk about Mike Waltz being controlled by Netanyahu. Let's not talk about Marjorie Greene being forced out of Congress by death threats for exposing the Epstein. Let's not talk about any of that. Let's not talk about the 20-year MOU or anything concerning all of that, which is fanatical, radical. According to Tucker Carlson, my new best friend, that's anti-Semitism. According to Tucker Carlson, that's Jew hatred. Everything that I just said up until this point, Tucker characterizes that as Jew hatred. He says, Nick is 100% right that Israel influences Congress. He said, but I don't agree with the Jew hate. Well, Tucker, my friend, it's a little bit bigger than Israel influencing Congress. There's a little more to the story, and it doesn't make me a Jew hater for saying.
I'm surprised at what he said, Tucker. Obviously, say I disagree with him right now because Tucker released a video recently that obviously destroyed whatever anybody thought he was thinking about, the Israeli influence in America. He obviously said that Netanyahu, with his behavior and actions, is a threat to Western civilization. Whatever he means by that, I don't know. But I believe Nick needs to go watch that video because, he's rising up and many conservatives are also joining him to also say that time is up for Netanyahu in America.
Anyway, they want us to talk about everything other than that. Gun control, health care, even immigration. They'll even allow you to talk about immigration. They'll even let you talk about cultural differences between Somalis and Americans. Did you see that? Matt Walsh went on a little tear today. It was so cute. Daring today, aren't we? Go get him. Matt Walsh did a little segment on his show where he said, you import the third world, you become the third world. Daring today, aren't we? We're 50 years. We're 50 years into the brownification of America, and finally someone has the balls to say we shouldn't import the third world? Bravo. And Elon Musk retweeted it and said, wow, right on. So Elon just finished telling us that if we don't want infinite Indian immigrants, we're racist and we need to fuck ourselves in the face. But Matt Walsh said Somalis have bad culture? Amazing, awesome. And this is where we are. It could not be more clear. And by the way, let me tell you something else. Okay, it is so obvious what's going on here. So obvious. Mark Levin, Barry Weiss, Ben Shapiro, Randy Fine, Joel Berry, all these people, they are the biggest liars in America. That's all they do. They lie like they breathe. And they come on the air and they pretend to care about our religion and they pretend to care about our country and about our children and about our young men and our people. But we all know the only reason they are scrambling, panicking, one reason and one reason only, it's because people are waking up about our Jewish oligarchy. That's it. And we all know why. All of them are Jewish. All of them have a special affinity for Israel. And by all of them, I mean all these people that have spoken out in the past few weeks. When these Jewish people get together at the North American Jewish Federation, at the Republican Jewish Coalition, at the World Jewish Congress, at the Conference for Major American Jewish Organizations. And they get up on stage, and right, left, and center, they get up and they decry the anti-Semites on the left and on the right, Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes, Hassan Piker and Zohran Mamdani. The only reason they're saying these things is because they are here as a foreign entity to lobby and manipulate the American public to support their country and their well-being at our expense. That's it. These people are Jewish. That's why they care about Israel, and they are here to make sure that all of us Americans never stop supporting Israel. I'm here to tell Americans we don't have to listen to them. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't listen to them. Americans should tune out people that care about other countries. You care about Israel? We put the volume to 0. We're not listening. I don't care what your take is on gun control. I don't care what your take is on healthcare. You are a Jew that only cares about Israel. There's no we here. They are not part of this conversation. This is a conversation between Americans about what America will do. America is a country of, by, and for the American people. A republic comprised of American citizens. Americans are going to speak to other Americans about what is best for Americans. Americans are going to make their decision about who we are going to vote for the leader of America and what America will do with regard to Israel. We're not going to listen to pro-Israel Jews that are here to tell us that we don't have a decision, that there's one decision, and that is to support Israel. How much are we going to support Israel? Are we going to give them all our money or most of our money? Are we going to fight all their wars or some of their wars? Are we going to fight in an offensive or defensive capacity? If you are here as a foreign propagandist, as a foreign lobbyist, as a foreign spy, if you have another allegiance, you are not in this conversation. We're telling Barry Weiss and Ben Shapiro, butt out. You are not invited. You are not one of us. You are one of them. Ben Shapiro, you have an Israeli wife and Israeli kids. You live in an all-Jewish neighborhood. You've been to Israel more times than I can count on 2 hands. You are not American. You are not one of us. Barry Weiss, you finished college and got trained in Israel to advocate for Israel. You're a foreign spy. You should be deported. You speak to an audience of Jews about what is best for Jews.
What Nick Fuentes is saying is quite simple. Go back to respecting America and its values. If you are in America and you claim to be an American citizen and you are not committed to helping America, get to greater height like what the forefathers did, you have no business being in America or have no business staying in America and telling us to be loyal to other countries. And most importantly, from what he said, people are beginning to see things differently. The truth is coming out. People are beginning to know who is in control of the politicians in America, who is preventing America to get into the height of freedom where people would envy it. Remember, Netanyahu once said that the new Rome will be conquered. Nobody will be allowed to conquer Israel again. I don't know what he means by that, but I believe that he believes that America is the new Rome. And with people realizing that things are going overboard, that he's overstepping his boundaries, I think America would turn against those who prioritize a foreign country over the interest of America, and at the end of the day win and take back the country. My advice for Israelis is that they should focus on making peace in the Middle East, ensuring that lands or greater Israel projects or idea of killing more people to occupy their lands shouldn't be what should be the foreign policy of their country. They should go in, take the peace that they have, manage it, and make the place a habitable place and live peacefully with their neighbor. Anything outside of this can be regarded as playing the Russian roulette. All right, thank you so much for being part of the show today. Really appreciate your time. I know definitely we're going to see in another video, but this is my first on Nick Fuentes, and I'm really enjoying it. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't yet. Until I see you in the next one, God bless you.